Thank you so much for staying with us. Asanteni sana. Thank you so much for the questions. It has been an eventful day, but it's just about to get a little bit more interesting. Now, earlier on, we talked about the future of work. And most of the questions you guys are sending in are asking us, Buddha, mi sioni kana naweza fanya hiyo career. Oh, mi sioni kama future yangu iko kwa ofisi. We have brought you a serial entrepreneur. Unambaka nimetoa jako kwa sababu we are ready to roll up our sleeves and get to the ground and get dirty, if I'm allowed to say that. With me is Eric. Eric, karibu sana.
Asante.
Kofiti?
Niko poa sana.
Eric, you have a very unique story. But first of all, introduce yourself to us.
Yeah, my name is Eric Onchonga. I'm a graduate from Kenyatta University. I did medical laboratory science. I'm a scientist by profession, by the way. And I'm doing my master's in business administration in the University of Nairobi.
Interesting.
And I'm the CEO of IRRI-HUB KE.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
So this guy, daktari, biashara, but now he does something with agriculture. You are the CEO of IRRI-HUB. Tell us, what does IRRI-HUB do? So
IRRI-HUB is an agriculture company that deals with irrigation systems. So we provide all sorts of irrigation systems for smallholder farmers in Kenya. And the packages that we have range from drip irrigation system, we have mulching peppers, we have dam liners, we have all those sorts of things that covers the irrigation aspect. And we also involved in, encouraging the youth to understand that agriculture is something that they can do as a full-time job, like an 8 to 5 job. So we're in the agriculture space.
Interesting. Because when I was in school, one of the biggest challenges that we had when it comes to agriculture, hata wasa walikuwa wanafanya agriculture, na pia nyinyi mnajua walikuwa wanasemekana ni wasa ushago, unajua. But you're a cool guy. I've known you on and off set now. Why agriculture? Why did you choose to go into this field that seemingly has this bad or negative stereotype?
Yeah, it's true. Agriculture has been viewed by so many as, something that is not cool, that is something, not so many young guys can get into. But we as a company, we came to realize that, there are so many things you can do within the agriculture space. You don't have to get your hands literally dirty for you to say, you're doing something in the agriculture field. So we spotted opportunities here and there, and I'll talk about them later on. And just to mention is that there's so many things within the agriculture value chain that you can involve yourself as a youth without just getting your hands dirty.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And when you speak about the whole value chain for agriculture, one thing is a constant: resources, funding. I know somebody's watching us and they're asking themselves, you know what? Labda niko na kashamba, niko na ka eighth, ka ploti pale Kamulu. Unajua, I'm a Joska. But I'm thinking to myself, sina capital ya kuweka shamba ama kufanya kitu na hiyo shamba. Talk to us about first how you raised your first capital, and secondly, I want you to talk to that particular person that's watching us on how best they can raise capital in order to kickstart their farming business.
So before Erihub came about, I was employed in a microfinance institution, and lucky for me, I was able to do a bit of savings, and that's what got me to start my brand as Erihub KE. But for guys who, I know they can't access the funds and all that, if you really have that idea, if you really have the passion in doing something, don't think about funds first. Bring on board the idea. Share the idea with, the people that you think can be able to help you, build up that idea. Money will follow you later on, but just build first on the idea. If you have passion for it, put it out there and just get it started.
What about somebody like me that's not really passionate, yeah? But umesota? Because, also not having money can drive you to do something like farming. What would be your advice to somebody like me in terms of how do I get that passion? How do I get committed to this particular cause?
The best thing will be learn from people who've been there before you. Visit the young guys who are doing what you want to do. See how they are working around it. Look for mentors so that they can guide you on how the whole process looks like before you jump into it. Because even for us, before we even started IRRI-HUB KE, we did a lot of research. We were able to understand how the market looks like for, irrigation products, what the smallholder farmers really needed. We were able to also analyze our competitors very well. We got to understand, what the prices they're offering in the market and all that, and we were able to position ourselves in the right space.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, just in case you have a question that you'd like to ask, please tafadhali, just hit the chat box section below. We are more than ready. Eric is here with me in studio to answer all your questions. So tafadhali, just type them out and then we'll definitely give them to Eric for him to answer. Now, Eric, one thing that's very huge when it comes to agriculture or agribusiness in general are the challenges, okay? I'll tell you my story. So at one point or the other, I said, you know what, I want to be a farmer. Mahali uko Loitoktok. Siku moja nikaamka, kumenyesha pande ingine, ikajaa, the whole place ikajaa mchanga. Nyanya zangu zote zikakufa. I mean, talk to us about some of the challenges that farmers are farmers should expect to face, and better yet, how they can be able to mitigate on some of these challenges.
Yeah, some of the challenges the farmers really face is one of the major challenge is normally the market for produce. We see a lot of our farmers, planting these onions, planting the tomatoes, but by the time they're good to go, the prices in the market are very bad. So one key thing that we also advise as a company is, farmers should be able to do market timing. They should be able to understand at what particular season these things are on demand. If in the next 3 or 4 months tomatoes will be on demand, then we guide them on planting those kind of things.
Is somebody able to actually predict?
You're actually you're not even predicting, you're able to tell, because I'm sure you're aware of, about 3 months ago, the onions were really high. The prices were so high. Right now, the prices are too low. So you're able to understand, at certain particular month, the prices for onions, they could be, very high. Then you work your program in terms of planting towards that particular time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Another thing that a lot of farmers are facing is brokers. Okay. So you don't have direct access to the market or to the direct consumer, but there's this middleman. So you on the shamba, you're selling 25 per kilo. The middleman goes and sells it in the market for maybe 150 per kilo. How do we bridge that gap?
Yeah, talking of middlemen, the brokers, it's really tough doing away with those guys. Tubado watakuwa tu hapo, the middlemen. So
ni cartel.
It's like a cartel. You can never eliminate them completely in that chain. And that's where sometimes we urge the government to step in and see how they can be able to help the smallholder farmers. We as a company, there's nothing much we can do about it because we can't get market for all these farmers that we have. So we only guide them in terms of market timing so that at least when they have their crop out, they have better offers in the market. But brokers, you really can't eliminate them. You just have to kind of play their game in some way.
Them.
Yeah, live with them.
Interesting. And even as you're living with that particular broker, please send in your questions so that we're able to get the answers through to you. And maybe somebody is looking at you and is like, you know what? I like what you're saying, and I'd love to set up, my farm. And I know you have a plan for maybe farmers that are coming up or farmers that, are not too confident about how much money they have in their banks. What would you advise that particular person?
We actually coming up with programs, especially programs that can be able to help the youths in terms of acquiring these equipment, in a program that they're able to pay, pole pole and all that, because some of these equipment, affording it all at once, it's quite a tough situation. So I can tell them to get in touch with us, let us understand what they want to do, let us understand their vision, and then we see how we can help them through.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And as Eric is getting ready to answer some of your questions, and you are getting ready to communicate. And by the way, how do they reach out to you?
My personal Twitter handle, Eric_Onchonga, but I will prefer they use at IRRI-HUB, IRRI-HUB. I think that will be much more interactive, and it's a Twitter one. For those guys who want to use Facebook, they can go to IRRI-HUB KE. They'll find us in Facebook.
Interesting. And if you check out their Instagram account, you can actually see selfies of some of the tomatoes that they plant on different places around this country. Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you.
Any final remarks from you?
Guys, let's get our hands dirty. Let's feed the world.
All right, let's get our hands dirty and definitely let's feed the world. Please, maswali, looking forward to them. Eric is still on standby to answer all your questions.